Starting things off strong, DePaul coming out with a 2-0 victory. You can see them up there at the top of the standings, taking Villanova down from their honorary #1 position from last season. Of course, they are still yet to play. Though our eyes are looking towards our next contestants, it's St. John's making their debut going up against Marquette. St. John's, this team is a team of unknown factors. We got a chance to sit down and chat with their manager, learn a little bit more about the squad. So, Lawrence, it's great to have you here, obviously, speaking for St. John's. My first question has to be, of course, how excited are you to be here?
Well, my answer would very professionally have to be I'm absolutely ecstatic to be here today. But I don't speak just for myself personally. I also speak on behalf of the St. John staff and the St. John students that are playing alongside all of us. And all of us have collectively agreed that we're extremely humbled and extremely grateful for this opportunity to be able to play in the Big East and ESL League.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Of course, you are the new team joining us in the spring season. Do you think that gives you any advantage being the newcomers? Are you the dark horse in this, or do you feel like you have some expectations?
Well, I don't want to give everything away. We have some surprises up our sleeve for sure, but I believe that as the newcomers, we turn a lot of heads and we draw a lot of attention whenever we have 5 and 6 new players that come into a new league, especially with us having no establishment previously. We bring a lot of surprise and a lot of new tools to the table. We plan to use that and take advantage of the surprise and intrigue that we bring to really build a fan base and really show what we're capable of.
Awesome. I mean, I can't wait to see it. And you talk about, obviously coming in and starting fresh. If you had to give your team an identity or really break it down in just a few words, what sums up your squad?
Well, to sum up our squad, I think the #1 priority we put on is improvement. We start from the bottom. We start from the very, very basics, and we look to build upon solid foundational truths that will help improve our game and not only make us better in the short term, but make us better people, make us better players, make us better workers in the long run.
I love it. I love it. Not looking for just tomorrow, looking to take it on through the whole season. That's exactly the kind of mentality that we want to hear. My last question is, do you have anybody you want to shout out? Is there any friends or fans or anybody like that you want to give a little shout out to?
There's really too many people I have to thank for us being in the position that we are here today. For anybody that's given us the time, the effort to work with us at St. John's University, thank you to all of you. Your support has gotten us here into this position today, and we are looking forward to a great season with all of you.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for having this interview with me.
How could you not cheer for Lawrence and the rest of St. John's? Like, that's such a fantastic entry, and to have a guy like that be your team manager, he's not even one of the players.
No.
He's your team manager, lead the group there. That's just, it's so heartwarming. It's so great that you wish the best for him.
I love it. Just so unabashedly excited about being here, about being part of this collegiate community here for Big East. I'm really excited to see what this team can do. Let's get into our very first match. It is St. John's going up against Marquette. Of course, let's start with the St. John's roster. They're all new, so we don't have any preconceived notions, obviously, about this squad. We can do some research a little bit online about their play. We can, talk to the players a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah. The Red Storm, I think, have a couple of really cool guys on their roster that we could keep an eye for. Basham on the bottom side of the map, freshman studying computer science. Top 1,080 carry player in North America. So Diamond 1, right on the cusp of master. Not something to scoff at, and he'll be a guy that you keep an eye on. QQ Lungs as well as another guy, and left for Egg in the mid lane. That's going to be the matchup to watch as we get into the game. So player to watch, probably Basham, but the matchup to watch, left for Egg against Marquette's mid lane.
Oh, yeah, and let's talk about this mid lane matchup a little bit because, there's might be potentially a little bit of a skill discrepancy here.
Yeah, Marquette finished 5th place last season, and they didn't make a ton of changes to their roster. That was something that they wanted to try to hold on to and continue the continuity from last split. In one of those things, you hope that the synergy works out and maybe you can make up for maybe some of the individual lack of a skill set that you have, but through teamwork. And we'll get to see if Marquette's able to do that.
Yeah, we'll see if they will here. Let's take a look at the Marquette roster. Every single one of these players needs to be oh so solid going here up against St. John's because, you know, Marquette has a little bit of an established history here. They want to continue and only improve last time around on their legacy. But of course, one thing to note about Marquette was one of their players actually ended up suffering an injury. Not one of the players you're seeing here on the roster, so he's unable to play this season. And the rest of the squad, they're doing this for him. That's really what it comes down to right now. So they have even further motivation. Let's take a look at the quote from the team here. "I'm playing for my teammate in this hospital with nerve damage to his hands and won't let his dream die." This is from Colonel. What a statement.
Yeah. Colonel Buckshot in the mid lane now, filling in, and will be in one of those tough matchups against Left for Egg. But that's a lot of motivation to play for. When you create a team, you always have that brotherhood that you're a part of, or sisterhood, or just kind of like that teamwork mentality where you're working through and working towards. And unfortunately, one of the players will keep unnamed, just for privacy's sake, wasn't able to continue to compete. So that's going to be one of the driving factors here for Marquette.
Yeah.
I do think that the player to watch for is Sable Shadow on the bottom side of the map. Marquette won one game against Butler, and that was on the back of a fantastic Vayne performance of the AD carry at that time, who's now graduated and moved on. So keep your eye on Sable Shadow. If he can do well, the team will find success.
Let's see how they prioritize him here in this draft going forward. Marquette, one of these squads that, as you said, didn't have the most stellar performance here last season, but I think if there's any squad who's going to come in fired up, especially knowing what we know now, it is going to be this team. So today might not be the best showing of all time, but as this team progresses out throughout the course of the season, I expect us to see even more continued play. But improvement was also what St. John's said they were focusing on.
Yeah, of course, and I think that both teams have a lot to play for here, and we'll finally get to find out as we get the picks and bans rolling. Rakan, Aurelia, Anivia, and Darius taken out. So Rakan and Aurelia, two meta picks. You kind of understand why those get taken away by St. John's. Marquette doing research specifically on players. When looking at the players as a whole, there's a couple of guys that were off-roll that were Anivia mains. Fans of Froggen, like to see the Anivia played in general, and we'll just get rid of that overall. It's not like, hey, all of a sudden you're an AD carry, and now all of a sudden you're in you're in mid lane playing Anivia. That would have thrown off some of the scouting reports. Let's just get rid of that champion. It worked out well earlier for DePaul, taking away the Shaco, which was something that we're like, is that really worth taking away from a meta standpoint? No, but the jungler Seton Hall was really good at that, so that gets removed quickly. Darius, Master Yi, and Aatrox taken away. So meta bans from St. John's, relatively interesting bans here from Marquette.
Yeah, as we get into the draft proper, we do have the Urgot, of course, coming in that first pick position, but talk about these counter picks here from Marquette.
Yeah, so you get to see Kennen a lot, right? So Urgot, early pick, normal. Shotgun knees, create space. We talked about it earlier. He gets the kill with the Fear Beyond Death, or the execute for the Fear Beyond Death. But the Kennen. So the Kennen can be played both AP and AD, mostly seen AP for the longest time until recently, popularized by AD carry from Europe, one of the best ever, Reckless. You build AD, you go Blade of the Rune King, and it gets to just kind of like chip away at percent health against this Urgot that builds armor. That's just a normal thing that you do, and you just kind of rotate around. One of the huge things that Nova Chosen, if he plays this AD Kennen on the top side of the map against Mountain, will have to do is position correctly. He needs to make sure he doesn't get caught by any of the slows. He doesn't get caught up in the shotgun knees. He doesn't get thrown backwards. But if he's able to dodge those around and just be annoying, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Just constantly getting hit by the Kennen until it gets chunked. Then the Kennen goes all in, uses the Maelstrom to slow everyone down, or stun everything around. Gank comes in, and it's easy. You slow down this Urgot that is highly sought after.
And this is actually something we saw played in the LEC. The Kennen, as a response to the Urgot up in that top lane, had actual decent success there in that situation. So we'll see if that stays true here for Marquette. I don't think they ended up winning that game in that situation. The Kennen kind of fell off towards the late game, didn't end up doing so well there. But as we look back towards these bans right now, Camille being taken off the board, as well as a Tom Canch the Pike there. So,
well, actually, just before we get to the bans, interesting here with St. John's, Lysandra and Cassiopeia taken away. So this is normally a top laner, normally a mid laner. and then a mid laner, top laner. So this means Left for Egg and the rest of St. John's might be utilizing Cassiopeia at the bot lane role. You could use Cassiopeia at the top lane role and roll around the Urgot somewhere else, right? They're sitting on this AD carry thing, and we've talked about AD carry pool. AD carries have just kind of been like nerfed into the ground. You just want someone that deals damage on the bottom side of the map. Cassiopeia has been utilized in the LCK, in the Korean League, multiple times as an AD carry or a bot laner, and it looks like that might be the case. And then if Jax is the one that goes in the jungle, you have your late game insurance policy with the Jax that will continue to farm up. Very creative draft here from St. John's. On the opposite side, Marquette got some power picks here. So yes, they went early with the counter with Kennen, but you get a Galio, get a Kai'Sa. Those are things that we've seen banned out earlier consistently. And then you close it up with a solid jungler like Xin Zhao and Braum, as we've seen.
Oh yeah.
The last game, just constantly popping up shields, starting engages, being able to do peel. Braum is just a strong champ overall. I like both drafts here. St. John's getting creative, Marquette getting value, but really it's going to hinge on that top lane matchup of the Kennen against Urgot. Can Nova Chosen skirt around Mountain, not get engaged upon, and then make Mountain irrelevant until later on into the game. QQ Longs is going to want to just farm up, so that's an opportunity there with the Xin Zhao who wants to get into lanes, who wants to gank, to focus on the top side of the map and turn that matchup into their hands.
I love it. It was a strong adaptation from Marquette to start things off, but overall both teams playing this incredibly meta, clearly having a good idea of how things are playing out right now on the overall tournament scenes. We're starting to see the pros come back. And obviously playing on 9.1, figuring things out now, we're starting to get a better grasp of it, and I feel like this is part of the strongest overall game of team compositions we've seen yet.
Yeah, and it's always a question of like comfort against power, right? When you look at pro play, they're getting 100, maybe like 95 to 99% out of the potential power of a team composition. However, if you pick something like that and you're not very good at it, yes, the power of the picks itself might help, but overall, it's usually much better to play a champion that you're comfortable on at this level. And so seeing a Kennen early on, it's like, hey, I'd rather just pick that up. With my time on Golden Guardians, we had a player, Bob Jenkins, who was a Kennen one-trick, and anytime he got Kennen, really helped out our team. When we forced him on something else, it made it a little bit more difficult to play around. It was still good, you understood it, but he was more comfortable on those comfort picks, so maybe Kennen's something that helps out there.
And given how fast they locked that in, that suggests to me that it's probably a mix of both of those things. Feeling that they have a potential counter there, as well as comfort. You know, sometimes some of these players sit back, it's like, oh, I see an opportunity. That's my champ right there. That's my boy. I can make that happen.
Yeah.
And when you find those moments, you make it work. As you said, you combine the idea of power and comfort. You bring that together. That's when teams can start to get ahead. That's when teams can snowball, not to mention the confidence boost to them right there. I'm super pumped to see what these teams can do because both have solid, relatively solid early games, really strong late games, though, for both teams. If this is allowed to go late, we are going to see a slugfest.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the mid lane, we talked about that skill discrepancy earlier. Left for Egg has a Diamond 3 peak on the opposite side. Colonel Buckshot, I believe, was Gold 2, so that's a really big discrepancy there. And usually you find that in terms of CSing, right? Maybe not team fights, but usually CSing and then roaming plays. Like when you control the wave, when you push the wave, do you go ward? Do you go fake like you're going to roam? Do you go fully commit to a roam? Understanding what you're giving up when you do either one of those things and then what the value is for all those things. Unfortunately, for Colonel Buckshot, his current rate doesn't reflect that. So maybe he might be able to surprise us here. He is playing a Galio. Galio is like, hey, we're going in or we're not going in. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that matchup pans out here.
Yeah, it's the hero's entrance. It's not the hero's revolving door. If you're committing, you're going in all the way. So we're going to hop into our game right now. Enough talking about it. Let's see what these players can do with these drafts that we've hyped up so much. Degon, let's get into it.
That's right. St. John's making their debut in the Big East League of Legends Invitational. The Red Storm led in the top lane by Mountain. At jungle, it's QQ Longs. In the mid lane, it's Left for Egg. At bot lane, not AD carry, it's Basham. And at support, it's Emberward.
And over on the other side, we have Nova's Chosen, Aogon, FOE, The Fall, Sable Shadow, and literally this.
Literally this.
Literally this.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Braum. These guys, creative names.
I like it.
It's better than naming yourself Seton Hall when you're on Seton Hall.
Look, that was...
Sorry, Brady.
Do it for the memes, guys.
Sending you
Come
shade.
on.
Brady.
But we are seeing a bit of an initial setup there from Seton Hall. potentially predicting a little bit of funny business there.
Oh.
From Marquette, but interesting. Okay. Again, and this is what we're seeing now a lot towards the higher levels of play. Occasionally, you're going to see some crazy invades, but traditionally, teams have been more than content to just sit back.
Yeah. So making sure that no one gets invaded upon, and again, right, first game jitters, making sure that everybody doesn't lose a game in an invade or win a game off of an invade. So just setting up the line of scrimmage for St. John's.
St. John's, yes.
And Marquette here. They'll be happy to start. Something to note, though, junglers starting on opposite sides of the map. They are prioritizing the red buff, so ganks will not be equal if they just kind of rush through, hit level 3 and gank. Normally you see that around 3 minutes and 20 seconds. If they decide to stop off for scuttle crabs, it'll be free if they stop off on opposite sides. So just a little bit of a variation here for both these junglers.
Yeah, and I think this is obviously, every champ in the jungle is going to want to start on through, and there's been back and forth on which buff is best to start through, and each one is obviously unique to that situation there. But as you said, I don't think we're going to be seeing any sorts of particularly crazy things here, unless the Xin Zhao decides he is going to potentially look to go in here towards this bot lane scuttle crab, or maybe even potentially look for a gank here pretty early.
Yeah, just clearing up the scuttle crabs. It's always a good little boost to your XP. Full clear here by QQ Longs, going down to the Krugs after red buff, then up to Raptors. Don't normally see that often because junglers don't feel like there's as much value in the Krugs. It feels bad to kill a big one, then have to kill the small one, and make sure you kill them all so that the camp resets. So QQ Longs will just be playing the long game, and that's probably indicative of what St. John's wants this jungler position to do. Won't be there to gank as much, it'll be there just to scale, farm up, and get gold, get experience, and get to a point where you can 1v9 later on. That's going to leave opportunities for Marquette to find ganks that aren't going to be answered by QQ Longs.
Yeah, so we're going to watch for that because we saw the power of the Jax in the late game there, and Xin Zhao as well, obviously just putting out some consistent numbers across the board. His power spikes, he can tend to hit a little bit earlier here, so we'll keep an eye on that interaction there because I feel like Jax is, as you said, not going to be one of these champs that's consistently jumping out of the jungle here, maybe looking to do a bunch of crazy stuff. Obviously he will once he starts to get a few items under his belt right now, but I think so far this game is speaking to me of quite a bit of passivity. Until people are really looking to get their ults in play, and because there's a lot of potential wombo combo here for both sides, but I'm looking towards level 6 for things to really start to get spicy.
Relatively slow here so far, slow start. You get to see the Cassiopeia in all of its glory on the bottom side of the map, and after all that awkward jungle pathing, both guys gonna find themselves here at Scuttle Crab's QQ Longs. Oh, not gonna see him.
Uh-oh.
They did see him. They did see him. Yeah,
Okay.
the Scuttle Crab did clear that one up, but Yogan,
Deep ward.
yeah, gets the deep ward and slows down QQ Longs. And overall, after all that pathing, 2 Scuttle Crabs for Yogan and the rest of Marquette.
Yeah, Marquette sitting pretty right now overall in terms of their jungler. Pretty much dead even though in terms of gold right now. We talked about this mid lane matchup quite a bit going into this left 4 egg up against the Fall. And so far, the Fall not actually doing too bad right here, despite the supposed skill discrepancy that we're seeing. But as you mentioned, the Galio able to just sit back, able to just deal that damage at range. So shouldn't be too much of a crazy matchup there.
Yeah, both teams just taking it slow, farming up. And it's surprising that Xin Zhao has not gone back yet. We thought that Xin Zhao was going to be the jungler that would be more proactive, taking kills, or ganking, and Jax would be farming longer. But no, QQ Longs is the one that has backed earlier, a little bit further behind in CS now in their second rotation. Yogan thinking about going in there, and although there was no vision, would have been really bad for them. Now the engage might be coming on because the TP's coming in as well.
TP is coming in here. This is going to be a full committal, but now Aogon is in retreat. But there is nobody there to gank. That was a lot of resources committed there from St. John's with nothing to show for it. And now Galio's at the free push the mid lane. Needs to be cautious, though, that he doesn't stay overly long. However, Aogon baiting them back out, just hippity-hopping away as they're looking towards this first rake. St. John's wants to make something out of this.
Yeah, it was a lot of resources. It wasn't even that many resources. It was the TP used. You get the flash away from the jungler, so now he's not as effective as a ganker. He still hasn't gone back for items yet. And Yogan, what are you doing, brother?
He's unfortunately no longer with us now as the hero's entrance is here to try and follow up. Enderborg is
Nice
the target. The
stun.
follow-up is there. The ult raining on through. Look at the damage from that cannon just unleashed right now with the Urgot as the one in full retreat. The slow is going to be there to try and follow up. Can they get the damage on through the flash off the wall? Can they chase this? And no! Mountain standing tall, able to get himself to safety.
Yeah, but Marquette turned this one around. Remember, they're the ones that gave up first blood. A really awkward bait there by
QQ Longs.
Yogan.
Uh-oh.
Novas.
Uh-oh. Two more.
Novas. Oh! Not going to be enough, but yeah, Marquette able to turn this one around. Yogan like, hey, look, we wasted their stuff. We can go back in. No summoners, no TP, and they're able to turn this fight around off of a great TP by Nova Chosen and a huge AoE taunt. It was a two-man taunt there by Foe the Fall, and FTF winning the fight for Marquette, and they take an early lead plus the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, that was exactly what they needed to do right there. I mean, just following up on a lot of, again, a lot was spent there. St. John's had the right idea. They're like, okay, we used the TP, we need to try and make something happen, so they went towards that Drake. But then it was Marquette in a beautiful position. You mentioned before as well how Aegon, he hadn't gone back yet for any items, and he looked like he was going to be the bait right there. But it was St. John's who overcommitted onto that. They saw the kill, they tunnel vision for it, and it was Marquette who punished, walked away, 2 kills to 1. However, the goal discrepancy is not massive by any means.
Yeah, it's not, and Nova Chosen hasn't been able to assert the dominance like we thought he would be. He did pick up a couple of kills, picks up a coal, or he's still stacking up his coal to get the extra gold from it. But overall, still just neutral in that top lane matchup. TPs both were burnt by them, by the top laners. Mountain does have Unsealed Spellbook, so he changes his summoner skill from the TP that is down into exhaust, and that works out okay for him, so he doesn't get all in, he doesn't get ganked, anything like that. But just a nice play, you know, each other taking a dip into the pool. Water's fine. You get a kill, we'll take 2, take an early lead, but nothing that you can't overcome.
Oh yeah, now this is still very much so the early game at this stage. No one really overcommitting. This Galio actually doing a fantastic job right now up against this Assan to the mid lane. Left for Egg hasn't really been able to do a whole lot right there. I'm actually super impressed by how Marquette has been playing this overall right now. The fact that they're utilizing, they thought about these lane matchups really clearly in the draft. And you can tell, despite the fact that St. John potentially put themselves in a position where they could have flexed some of these picks in every way, I feel like the way Marquette played this out was really smart. They had the answers across the board.
They did so far. We'll see. I mean, I think Basham's bot lane pick doesn't turn on until a lot later in the game, and so those fights will be interesting. And it's a lot of I wouldn't say beef tankiness for St. John's, but a lot of frontline, right? Lysandra has Frozen Tomb. She can use that on herself to buy time and create this, again, space that makes it very difficult for Marquette's frontliners, like a Kennen that wants to jump in and stun everybody, like a Xin Zhao that wants to go in and knock people up to create space. So both teams are like matadors. They're like, hey, you come into us and fight me. No, you come into us and fight me, which means we're probably not going to have a lot of fights except for fights around major objectives.
Yeah, situations where maybe somebody gets a little bit caught out of position like we saw before.
Or like this.
Or like this, where the situation where we see the full engage with the Ult Galio going in, the charge as well, the taunt as
forcing
back QQ Lonzo. Oh,
Xin
no,
Zhao!
indeed. And now this is the overcommittal I was talking about, but it is left for Egg, the third member of Marquette, joins them right now, and that is going to be the kill. Baits on baits, 2 kills going the way of Marquette.
And they might not be done yet. Basham and Emberwork thinking about joining into the party, and they decide better. Decline the invitation. And Xin Zhao using the ultimate a little early there, but the ignite comes down by Foe the Fall. Let's take a look at that one more time. QQ Long's just kind of lackadaisically farming his own jungle, and then Foe the Fall getting the nice knock-up. Ignite goes down, doesn't have to worry about him anymore. Left for Egg, trying to get the kill and pick something up, but great Braum rotation, getting in there, using the Unbreakable Shield to keep his carry alive. Secures 2 more kills for Marquette.
That was really solid play, going back and forth between targets, identifying, picking them off. as you said, lackadaisical jungle farming from QQ Longs. I think that was exactly what that was. He's just been sitting back doing his thing, not really worrying a whole lot, and it cost him right there, not respecting the invade from Marquette, not respecting that initiative. And when we talk about shot calling, when we talk about veteran experience, that is something that Marquette will have on this squad. They've been in this situation before. They were here last season. This is obviously St. John's debut. They want to show up in a big way right now, but they're going to need to make some more decisions of their own rather than simply responding to Marquette.
Sure, and one thing that St. John's can immediately pick up on is the ward placement. If you look at the jungler ward score, it's 9 for the side of Marquette and only it was 3 for the side of St. John's. QQ Longs needs to get more wards down, more vision down. Stop being so worried about having one for ward hop and be more worried. There we go. About
that is a very worded try brush.
About getting vision so you don't get collapsed on like that. Marquette, if they walk into your jungle like that, you should be able to collapse and punish. But if you don't know they walk into your jungle like that, they just collapse and punish you.
Yeah, no, that was punishment. I feel like is going to be a key part of this. Again, capitalizing on overextensions. You mentioned how neither one of these teams is really going to want to be like overly looking for these big 5-on-5 team fights. They're not really searching for the death ball. They're going to maybe look for some of these invades, but really it's all about catching people out of position and punishing that positioning here, because positioning is so important at this stage of the game, especially as we're heading in towards the mid game. These major map objectives are going to be huge. How you position around them, how you play is going to be crucial.
And it's not just the position of the fight, it's how the ability to get into position. It's something that was made very famous by Samsung Galaxy when they won in Season 4 World Championships. And I think Froskirian did a great job bringing this to light. It wasn't when Dragon is spawning. Like the timer is going down, Dragon is spawning. It was the minute and a half before that to jostle for position, to get your wards down, because wards last for about 2 minutes beforehand. And then you're able to set up shop and know where the opposing team is. It's about getting there slightly earlier and realizing that's an important time. So everything must revolve around that. You need to push your waves before that. You need a recall before that. You need to buy your items before that. You need to make sure your summoner skills are up for that.
Yeah.
Everything revolves around your timing for those major objectives and then getting the vision before you want to get the major objectives, so that if you want to turn, you know you can turn because you know how many people are there, you know someone else is across the map. Vision is so important. And right now it's not just about getting it down when you need it, but before you need it, so that you don't waste time getting it down when you need it. Nice flash by
nice
left
flash. Yeah, it's resource management. I feel like you said it perfectly, because there are so many elements to one of these games, because it's not just my abilities, it's not just my summoner spells, it's not just where I'm at towards my next item. It's where the whole team is, and to be able to coordinate, communicate that, and use that information in a powerful way, in an effective way. That's what's so important here at this stage of the game, at this level of play. So we're now looking at Marquette up 4 kills to 1, only ahead a few K gold. The onus is gonna fall on St. John's to come back right now, to start to utilize their mid to late game heroes, to start to pressure up things and set up for it. Exactly what you're talking about, Degon. They're not necessarily thinking about the next second or the minute after that. They're thinking about how the game as a whole is going to coalesce.
So here at 14 minutes, both teams taking a little slow. Ocean Drake heading over to Marquette, and they're fine with just farming it up. Still on this top side of the map, they haven't been able to exploit Mountain so far, and it looks like Nova's chosen was like, hey look, you know, I could try to 1v1 this lane and build Blade of the Rune King. I'm just gonna get Proto Belt and go full AP, and they're gonna double down on the team fights. Let's make the space for the Kai'Sa. Let's get multiple man stuns. If someone dives, then Zhao's right there and can bop him off. And Sable Shadow, that was the one I said. Keep your eye on this guy. He's filling some big shoes. Has done a decent job so far in team fights, but you can even look at the CS numbers right now. Basham, he's the higher rated player from solo queue, knows how to pressure, up 30 CS.
And I feel like this gold discrepancy is only as close as it is because, again, despite the fact that St. John's is down 3 kills, they have been CSing a decent amount better here. But as you said, Sable Shadow on a very high skill cap champion as well. This is something we have to keep in mind here, because you look towards that Kai'Sa, you look towards what she can potentially do in these fights. If she gets set down and caught by the wrong ability at the wrong time, the CC is there. It's how you lose a team fight in an instant.
One way to help accelerate your team winning, though,
oh yeah,
and winning some team fights is map pressure, and a good way to take that is the Rift Herald. If you're able to capture that,
Looks like
Rift
trading
getting
out.
knocked out
Yeah.
relatively quickly. On the bottom side of the map, Kaisa smartly just backs off, says, hey, we're putting a lot of resources to capture the Rift Herald. I'll back off the turret. It's fine. Give them a little bit of first turret gold. They don't get all of the turret plating because the 14-minute timer had passed. And that's fine. Give up a turret, a little bit of space. You get yourself the Rift Herald, and Rift Herald almost always guarantees you a turret. You look at the turret health on the mid lane, we just saw. It's low enough that a Rift Herald Ram, a good old Shelly Ram, will knock that thing down.
Yeah, put the shoulder into it, you know, knock it right on down, and then open up the map for Marquette in that situation. I have to say, I like St. John's identified look. We know this is happening. Let's take value elsewhere on in the Rift right now. Elsewhere on the map. We need to make something happen here for ourselves. They identified this bottom turret there, opening up potential future Dragon plays there as well around the Drake Pit. Let's keep an eye out for that. But up towards the top, we have to look at what the push that Marquette is going to be launching here in just a second, because this top tower, it hasn't been under a whole lot of threat yet, but it could potentially here in the mid.
Yeah, again, so normal rotation here. Take the bottom turret, flip your bot laners to the top side of the map, start focusing that turret. What St. John's needs to start doing is predicting where Marquette would possibly drop the Rift Herald. That could be in the mid lane, that could be in the bottom lane, but just kind of being aware of it, and you want to make sure that not only minions are there, but you as a champion and several champions are there so that you can poke the eye in the back of the Rift Herald, make sure it falls faster than normal. And here it is, it's getting dropped. Going in is Left for Egg, trying to stop the casting of Rift Herald.
That's the taunt right there on the left right. The shield's going to keep him launched a little bit longer, but that is the first kill there as Mountain is joining in onto the Rift Herald, charging in onto the tower.
Oh yeah, look
but
at the
that
ult.
is the follow-up with the hero's entrance. The damage is there. This is Marquette going off right now. The taunt to follow up the CC on the Bastion. He's trying to escape as well. The fall going underneath the tower is going to be getting taken down, so that's a nice little turn there. Trying to get the kill on Nova shows as well. The stun, the follow-up is there. Can he make it? There's the Q, the bomb, the W. Yes, can they make this happen? As QQ Longs is now in full retreat. The slow, the stun will be there, and that will be enough to get the kill. Aogon to seal the deal. The turret drops. Shelly's still alive.
Yeah, St. John's getting a little too cute there. Left for Egg, trying to dash in to stop the casting of the Rift Herald. I think if you snare him or stun him, hold him in place, you could have frozen tombed him. That would have been a waste of the Rift Herald. Instead, the Herald is cast, and the rest of the team able to get a turret very low. Will it go down? Nope, not quite, but still massive turnaround there for Marquette as we take another look at this Big East replay. Again, he tries to go in using the cloth. He ults right there immediately. You can stop the casting of it. Maybe it's worth, but he had full vision of a Galio right there. And then the TP, this is why AP Kennen is so strong, using the ultimate, getting the stuns down. It's a big area of effect, keeping everyone safe. Nice 3-4-man ult by Cass to buy a little bit of time. And then right here, I thought QQ Longs bit off a little bit more that he could chew. Flash forward, get stunned. Nova Chosen, he tried to auto a couple of extra times, got too greedy, and went down, and QQ Long's able to get a little bit of a bounty back. But either way, an aggressive play by St. John's gets absolutely punished by Marquette, and they're starting to break this game wide open, just like they broke open the mid-turret.
I have to say, one of the players I think did a low-key fantastic job in that fight was Foe the Fall. His taunts were perfect. He got two massive taunts over the course of that fight. His ult was perfectly timed. Nova's Chosen was then able to come through basically uncontested to help pick things off. It started off all with that initial shot there onto the Lissandra. Left for Egg, thought he'd get a little bit cheeky, thought he had enough utility in his kit to get himself out. All the TPs came on through, and in the end, 9 kills to 3. Marquette is sitting in a great position.
Yeah, and what I like about this is Colonel Buckshot, who's in the mid lane under Foe the Fall. We'll save that story for now as we have an engage coming in.
Up in the top lane, a lot of CC going back and forth both ways. Is Ember Ward potentially caught out right now? Nice flash to try and escape. There's actually the shutdown going right on through. As St. John's, battered and bruised, is able to walk away for now. Mountain, the sustainability built into that kit. The Urgot.
Oh, no!
Bring it back in!
You hate to see it.
No,
flashing in a straight line.
Escape.
Mountain getting a great ult. Fear Beyond Death. The Tendril landing, and literally this was literally supposed to flash anywhere else, and he would have been okay. Unfortunately, he flashes into it, dies, and at the very end, you got to see Mountain try to flash forward and get the fear down onto the cannon. Didn't quite work out there.
Not quite.
You know, but you see what he's thinking. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
This is what I was talking about with Kennen. You don't want to get close to the Urgot. Kennen does not have ult, does have AP, sitting on the auto attack for the stun. Oh, nice play there. Here comes the ult from Galio, so turning this one around is Marquette. Oh,
he's
the
coming in
fall
with the
going
charge,
in,
going
yes.
on in with the taunt mountain. It's gonna get, at this point, Galio is tanky enough that he can dive under tower with ease. I don't think Mountain was expecting that at all. FOE, the fall, falling from the heavens to save his teammates, secure the kill, and now it is QQ Long's up in the top lane in a 2v1 situation.
Yeah, QQ Long's gonna die. Ooh, Tiz does pick up this kill on literally this, just literally got out of the fountain and goes right back. But I want to applaud Nova's Chosen for playing that game. He dodged multiple skills there from Urgot and bought enough time for the Galio to come in as, again, we're just seeing very lazy play from everyone right now. Not safe at all, just walking in without vision and just walking straight into the opposing team. We saw Mountain try to push his luck there. We saw QQ Longs just invading on the top side of the map. And now right here, Eogan just kind of walking right in with no vision.
I mean, that was a simple job to just kite him back right there from Ember Warg. No issue at all. Again, a bit of a questionable position right there. Started off with a fantastic route. The rest of St. John's was able to collapse, starting to stem the bleeding a little bit here and recover from some of the questionable decisions that were made in the mid-game. I feel like this is Marquette, you know, they're in a position where, like, this is your game to lose, and if they continue on this trend, St. John's is looking to come back right now. The gold is not that different as we're heading in towards the mid-game now. I'm excited to see what St. John's can do here to rally, because we talked about the power of their late game, and they certainly have it.
I definitely do. I would slow down that hype train just a bit, just because Foe the Fall.
I'm trying to bring the hype here. Come on, man.
You know, it's 22 minutes in. You know, the hype will come. Like Foe the Fall. Let's set the stage. Foe the Fall is the most fed for Marquette, and there are better carries on his team that could be fed. So Gold not exactly on the right guy. You'd rather be a 4-1-5 Kaisa. You could rather be a 4-1-5 Xin Zhao. Possibly. Maybe, yeah, but definitely the Kaisa is the one that you want to get fed. Isn't quite there yet, actually, with a pretty significant gold deficit to the Cassiopeia and Jax. That's the other carry on the opposite side of the map as we take a look at that. 1,000 gold down on the Cass and almost 2,000 gold down on the Jax. So Kaisa needs to be very careful. It's not a lot of mechanical outplays with the Kaisa, but it's a lot of positioning and orb walking, auto moving. And so he needs to be aware of his surroundings as he continues to fight and continues to scale up. And Galio's got to lead the way for those fights.
And one of the things I'm most concerned about is the fact that Sable Shadow on that Kaisa just turned level 11. He is very much behind right now on where he needs to be. If you look across the boards, level 13, level 14 going to be coming out here pretty soon for St. John's. Sable Shadow needs to be put in a position where he can make some big plays and get some kills, get some gold in his pocket right now. Because as you said, it's all on the Galio, and that's not necessarily the champ that you want to be looking towards here, heading towards the late game. Whereas on the other side, level 13 already being reached for things like the Jax. You talked about the potential carry there, and we've seen what a fed Jax can do. We joke 1v9, but also, yeah, he can solo a team.
So both teams just kind of hanging out, waiting. Another Drake hitting over to Marquette. And like we said earlier, both teams want the opposing team to fight into them. So objectives will be the big bullet point for both these teams. Baron on the map, but Vision getting cleared out, and I think both teams will take it slow again. We realize, hey, we're playing too fast. We got the picks on the bottom side of the map, then we gave a couple picks away. So let's focus on Vision. Let's be smart. Let's not overcommit for any team fight.
Yeah, overcommitment, I think, at this point would be pretty disastrous for either one of these teams because, of course, if you're St. John's, you're making your season debut, your whole Big East collegiate debut, and Marquette, of course, this is their debut as well. We have more amazing games coming up today as well. Of course, the returning champions of Villanova are up next, going up against Butler. So make sure that even after this series is done, that you don't go anywhere because we have great, amazing Collegiate League of Legends all day long.
That we definitely do. 24 minutes in, 25 minutes in, and both teams still jostling around Vision. And with Baron now getting up, and teams getting tanky enough that they could take that out, it becomes more and more important. You see literally this, making sure that there are no sneaky wards hidden anywhere that St. John's might have. And it's just been relatively slow here. I think both teams coming off their studies and trying to ease their way back into some League of Legends action. Both schools, part of that Big East like belt up
Yeah.
in the northeast, the Midwest kind of look is now finally fight happening here. QQ Long's getting caught out.
Yeah, the Fall is the one who's going to be paying for it, though. Taking a little bit too long to kill him there, and now he's going to be able to try and extricate himself from a rough situation.
Yeah.
But we do have the massive ult coming in from that Kennedy. He's getting stunned up forever, though, which is allowing the other side to escape, and it is now Mountain in full retreat. Basham needs to run, and it is Mountain face tanking all of this damage. He will eventually go down. That's what it started with. It started with QQ Longs getting caught out in the mid. The rest of his team collapsed and tried to save him, but it was them who paid for it as the first high ground turret of the game will fall and the inhib is exposed.
Yeah, QQ Long's getting caught out yet again in the mid lane. It looked really bad for Foe the Fall, but he bought just enough time to allow Kennen to rotate on over and the rest of the cavalry to arrive. Nova's Chosen had a nice ult, got held in place for a very long time by both Basham and a binding from Emberwork, but the rest of the team fight went their way. Xin Zhao running down the mid part of the map. Mountain not long for this world. Left for Egg getting taken out as well. And so Marquette breaking this one open, and it just took a random catch to finally get this game going in the side of Marquette. We've talked about minion changes, super minions now pouring into the mid lane base, and St. John's will have to find an answer to the question of super minions.
That too. I mean, obviously they're going to have to babysit that lane forever. But I feel like they have a bigger question. And I feel like it's when that slicing maelstrom comes on through, if you don't do exactly what happened in that last fight, which was CC Kennen into oblivion, how do you survive that? The second he engaged, I just watched the health bars of St. John evaporate in an instant. And that's part of the issue right now, is that if they don't think they can win a team fight, and they're also obviously, you know, really inhibited in the macro because they're dealing with these super minions, how do you win at that point? How do you come back from that?
Well, I wouldn't call that a fair team fight, right? You have QQ Longs, who's one of the most fed, not one of the most fed, but one of the stronger players on your team and stronger champions on your team. If he gets knocked out of the team fight at the very beginning, that's not really a team fight anymore, 5v5. That's more of like a 4v4, 4.5 versus 4. And, you know, QQ Longs just had to go back and heal and not really do too much. So, unfortunately for St. John's, they didn't win that fight. But fortunately for them, they still have an opportunity if they can find a 5v5 team fight, which is why it's so important that they get the vision down. And it's so important that they do it together. I'm sure QQ Longs was trying to get vision down, just get a stray ward, and unfortunately he gets punished, not with death, but the rest of his team and the turrets and the base.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big mistake there, unfortunately for them. What looked like it could have been a great fight. I mean, St. John's collapsing was not the mistake. The mistake was how much initial damage was done before they were able to get in position. However, this is Marquette in a good position right here. They do spot them out. The ward does go down. There's the root, the follow-up. So nicely done there from St. John's, not face-checking bushes at this level of play. That's exactly what we like to see. Teams are now looking to spread back out, continue to farm. As we're looking towards getting the 30-minute mark at this point, players are going to start to be in a position where they can really dish some damage. It's starting to get towards 6-stack, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah, you look at items here, the Banshee's Veil and Luden's Echo already completed for Lysandra on the side of St. John's. Now Marquette just burning this one down. It's getting very close to a 3-item Kaisa. They have to get in there into the team fight. Sable Shadow already low, though.
There we go. The hero's entrance is there.
Oh, nice Zonia's.
Nice Zonia's there. The time off, trying to keep him out for now. The CC
Nova
going
Chosen.
in onto Marquette is a massive. But we do, and the Baron is still alive through all of this somehow.
That's
QQ
the
Long is in the
ace!
back. I cannot believe it through all of that. What?
Man, what a fight there for St. John's. They finally are able to go ahead and get the fight that they wanted. All the while, Mountain didn't join in. Let's look at this one more time. Huge ulti here, and this was panic from Marquette. Your AD carry that is fed, that wants to deal the damage. You have all these champions that get people away from him. Lysandra just walks straight up to him, and then Galio ult is wasted. This forces Kennen into the action a little bit later on. Great Zonia's Morgana ult to hold people in place by the support for St. John's, and everyone gets wiped, and Urgot's on the bottom side of the map. That is a 4v5, a de facto 4v4, because Kennen was late, that St. John's finds and gets Baron, and clears him off Baron, and so they get a little bit of breathing room for a couple more fights.
That was absolutely massive. That was the moment that St. John's needed to find right there, and it all came down to some amazing clutch individual mechanical plays. The Central, you mentioned it, and Zanya's, the timing on that was massive. Everybody clumped together in such a way. The Hero's entrance meant absolutely nothing. And then when Kennen did decide to join in the fight, everybody was clumped in such a way, fighting in the neck of that Baron pit, that it was just a feeding frenzy at that stage. Then when things devolved into their own individual skirmishes, enough HP remained, but barely. Now, as things are starting to shift around a little bit more, the gold starting to come back into favor of St. John's, the map control starting to come back into their favor. They are actually ahead in terms of turrets right now, despite the fact that they are missing an inhibitor.
Goodness, if St. John's is able to get back, don't forget that play there by Ember Ward, popping Zonia's right as Foe the Fall goes in for the Justice Punch, and after he used Heroic Entrance on basically nothing. Marquette still has all the tools to win team fights, but they need to execute better. This is one of the first gold leads that we've seen St. John's have in a while.
It is indeed, basically from the exact start of this game, they haven't been in this position since, and now we are looking towards a dead, even pretty much late game here, as the inhibitor is respawning there in the mid lane, which is going to allow them to macro a little bit more freely here, so we'll watch for that, maybe get some pressure of their own in the mid, and try and equalize those towers there, those turrets. As we now look towards the other two lanes, we look towards the top for St. John, and they have their T1 still standing, which means that there's a very clear win condition for Marquette right now, and St. John knows it.
Yeah, it is, but I think right now both teams are just going to continue to dance around Baron and try to find the team fight that they want. As they continue to get items, that'll help out. If they're patient and able to wait until the Drake gets online as well, that's another thing that Marquette can utilize against St. John's. But for now, both teams again jostling for position, 15-14, about a kill a minute for both these teams as they just want to find the right fight. They want to find the fight. It's almost like if you're the second person to the fight, you win it.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a numbers game right now, and QQ Longs needs to be careful. He's on the bottom side of the map, and his rest of the team's not there.
They are going in right now. That is the engage. That is the pick. That was exactly what Marquette was looking for. Is looking to chase this down on the fall, splitting this up beautifully. Mountain's going to be the target on one side, while Galio is doing a great job trying to split this up, but he's taking a lot of damage in his own right. St. John's is now in full retreat. We do have the Justice charge continuing on in as Foe the Fall knows no fear going in. As I said, they have one win condition, and it is down this mid lane. The inhib is open right now. St. John needs to try and hold on. A lot of damage going on through, actually chunking through a lot of the HP of Marquette. Left 4 egg is on the flank, gets the kill on the Gallery.
Oh, great ult!
There. That is 1, 2, and 3. Keeping it going. Aegon is going to be the next target. The follow-up is there. I cannot believe St. John's just held on so cleanly.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Like St. John's, again, I think that was not the greatest play by QQ Longs to get greedy, tried to take the Drake while his team was a little too close to Baron. Again, it's one or the other. Either you commit to the bottom side of the map, don't worry about that, as we see yet another kill. Literally the support gets taken down. QQ Longs went to the bottom side of the map, got the Drake, but a huge play there by Basham. Great ult to hold it the whole time. Landed on multiple people. Both him and Left 4 Egg go forward into the Maelstrom ult from Kennen, but still staying alive. And now they're going to turn this one out and get the Barrett. St. John still in this game.
Still in this game. Degon break down this high ground fight. Show us where it all went wrong for Marquette.
Yeah, so Marquette trying to push down. Nice little split. You see how one's down on the bottom side of the map, one's on the right side of the map. It's changing the angles that they have to take, and then just the poke over and over again, plus the miasma and the poison that Basham has had. This is why you pick at Cassiopeia. Later on, you just tear through dudes with your double fangs, on top of the fact that you have poison, miasma, toxic gas, and a CC for multiple people if you can line it up correctly. And Basham showing off why they do that and why the coaching staff of St. John's and the rest of the team putting faith in him to play a non-traditional AD carry.
Yeah, so much control with that champion, and we saw it there. All the slows, trying to wade through all that poison. Not very easy to deal with, as now it is St. John marching down the mid lane. They want to take some turrets of their own. This is the opportunity for Marquette to hold on right here. And I love St. John's not overcommitting in any one direction, pushing in multiple lanes simultaneously. They're not going to make the same mistake that Marquette just did.
Right, and if you look at the mini-map, and we can take a look at the minion waves, there's a minion wave shoving on the bottom side of the map. On the top side of the map, there's a minion wave shoving. So all places you look, if you're Marquette, you have to try and figure out where you can put pressure. Left 4 Egg has a safe way to get out, also has Banshees, so there isn't just a single CC that can stop him. You need multiple forms of CC, and then it's just very difficult for Marquette to answer. So solid play here by St. John's on a macro sense to utilize their Baron in an efficient way.
They are definitely doing that right now. Trying to line up so all 3 minion waves are crashing in as simultaneously as possible, which means that Marquette is forced to split, forced to respond in multiple places simultaneously. They do have enough wave clear at this stage in the game where they won't have a super hard time doing that here. But I'm looking towards this next team fight, because this next team fight, if one team takes it decisively, could very well be what decides the game.
Yeah, and let's keep our eyes on Sable Shadow. It's very difficult now for Kaisa to get in. She has shorter range, and there's so many things that can kill you if you're Kaisa looking at the opposing team.
Oh, yeah.
Cassiopeia can hold you onto the ground. You can't warp around. You can't flash away if you're standing on the miasma. You can get held in place by Frozen Tomb with Left for Egg. You can get stunned by Counter-Strike by QQ Longs. And now that he has multiple items plus the Trinity Force and everything that all Jaxes get later on, it only takes a couple of hits for a Jax to kill you, on top of the fact that Mountains there can kill you, a Binding can land. Like, there's so many things that can kill you if Sable Shadow gets in the wrong position. And it's going to be very tough for them to find a 5v5 fight that they want.
That's why I'm looking towards literally this. You talk about the power of the ADC, Sable Shadow, but you also talk about the drawbacks. That's why I'm looking towards the support play coming in from literally this. He's done a fantastic job so far of being that frontliner. Stand behind me. There's been a couple moments where things haven't totally gone his way, but that is as much his teammates not playing around him as his individual play.
Yeah, I would say in team fights he's done okay. There was a couple times where he's like warding, getting caught out. It's like, hey, don't belong there. But in team fights, he's going to have to sit on Sable Shadow and do a solid job, probably the ultimate sacrifice of his life if they're going to find a team fight win.
That's what we're looking towards here, because as we can see, Sable Shadow is starting to get online in terms of that damage. I like what I am seeing there. 17 kills to 18. Marquette now on the back step, down 3K gold. That's what's part of getting that Baron buff, is the fact that you're able to push out and then invade so comfortably in the opposing team's jungle, denying them that farm, getting that for yourself as well. So that's something we're keeping an eye on towards this next fight, how these items are going to play out. As I said, we look towards getting 6 stacked.
Yeah, and QQ Longs and the rest of St. John's have done a solid job getting vision on the opposite side of the map. Not around blue buff, that usually gets cleared up pretty quickly, but this Elder Drake is very important for St. John's to take. There are 4 Elder Drakes, or 4 Baby Drakes on the side of Marquette, so an Elder Dragon heading over to them will be massive buffs. So really doesn't matter what's happening across the map right now. It would have been great if St. John's set up their minion waves to crash into the opposing team's base, but it doesn't look like they did that, so it's probably just going to be a fiesta down here with dragons and tears on the menu.
Dragons and tears, yes, indeed. There's going to be a fight for vision going throughout this, as both teams are looking to set this up so they can push in at the optimal position. It seems like Marquette, though, not having Cassiopeia in place for St. John's, allowed Marquette to push out. But now that she's returned, Basham is here, and it looks like in an instant, Marquette is content to just give this up once again. This is now full control back towards St. John's. However, Nova's Chosen's here on the flank.
He's there on the flank, but I was incorrect about the waves pushing. The waves are definitely pushing on the side of St. John's, but there it is.
There it is. The ult going on the back of Nova's Chosen. Every single member of St. John's is getting absolutely shredded in the back line. We do see Vodafall trying to make something happen. Basham is in full retreat. Oh, keeping him just alive just long enough. It's Vodafall. It's going to be able to kill on the back. This simultaneously, we have QQ Long trying to do everything he can. The QW going on through on an Aegon. That is going to be enough damage, and now we see the power of the Jax in the late game. Literally, this is in full retreat, but they're hunting him down. Look at the cooldown reduction. One more Q, one more W. GG, good night, says QQ Longs. This is our game to win.
It took too long to take down Basham. Basham dealing a ton of damage, and I think the ultimate might be a little bit of questionable, might have been a questionable decision by Nova's Chosen. He did immediately burn down Ember Warg, but that's not a carry. You want to get onto Basham, you want to get onto QQ Longs or anyone else, and unfortunately it was just a 2-man ultimate, and this late in the game, you know you have to keep your Kaisa alive. Kaisa will be spawning back up. Game not quite over yet, and instead St. John's going to make sure they dot all their I's, cross all their T's, and get the Elder Drake to slow things down as we take another look at this team fight. Again, how did this all happen? You see Nova's Chosen there on the bottom side. It's a 4-man stun, but good flash by Basham to get himself out. and then left for Egg just walking straight up into Foe the Fall, picking off the Kaisa immediately. And after that, that's your team fight. Your damage dealer got killed first on the side of Marquette. You're not going to win that.
No.
And we've been touching on it. Sable Shadow, where are you, bro? You got to step up. You got to stop getting killed first. And again, gets killed immediately. And Marquette did a good job slowing things down, but now they find themselves definitely behind.
I got to give props to the target prioritization of St. John's, because yes, Nova's chosen, big 4-man ult, absolutely solid. For the Fall, doing well. You know, the synergy was there, the damage was there, but Sable Shadow has been a non-factor in these fights, just instantly getting picked off. And again, how much of that is his positioning? How much of that is St. John's identifying, look, we can deal with we can deal with the Galio, but we cannot deal with an uncontested Kaisa. Because we're now looking towards the Baron, everything is going off right now.
No!
Oh no, they don't quite get it. And that is,
no.
Galio! Oh no, Galio is going on in the hero's entrance, and on the flank through the guy trying to put things up. Over on the top lane.
It's over.
It's absolutely over. St. John's pulled back. The peel was massive there, just isolating these last few targets. Galio, the last man standing. How did he survive for this long? This guy's an absolute beast. I got to give him all the props in the world, but his team just not quite able to follow up. There was a lot of weird little things, interactions that happened in that last fight. St. John's able to secure the objective, able to secure the kills, and now it looks like able to secure the game.
Yeah, Marquette having the lead for quite the longest time, and we were questioning the team composition here for St. John's. Unfortunately for Marquette, St. John's able to scale out, and a couple of huge plays. Zonia's at the right time, picking the right targets, and St. John in their first ever game in the Big East League find themselves a victory over Marquette.
What a solid game. There were moments where I was convinced Marquette had it, and there were moments where I'm like, St. John has this, but it all came down to that turning point. When Marquette marched up onto that high ground, we said, this is our time. We have the inhib. We can do this. And they underestimated their opponent, not having the info. As I said, they're a potential dark horse coming into this, and they showed it in this matchup. St. John stepped up.
Yeah, and for the Red Storm, I think it's Basham that saved their hopes there. He had a multi-man ultimate. He was able to hold people in place, get 2 or 3 kills in that final, what Marquette thought was going to be the final push, stalled out the game enough that finally the scaling of a Jax, the scaling of a Cassiopeia, plus now all this hard CC with an Urgot and with the Lissandra all in place to hold people there, led to the victory.
That was all it took in the end. A couple solid fights, a couple solid decisions, and St. John's take the win. But that's not it for us. We have more amazing action after this, so don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Big East League of Legends spring season, as we just saw St. John's take down Marquette in one epic comeback. I have to say, Degon, I am so very pleased with how St. John's was able to turn that around, despite being our rookie addition, our new team here in the Big East. They showed up in a big way.
Well, you know, they don't show that they're brand new. They drafted a relatively complex team composition with a no AD, traditional AD carry bot laner in Cassiopeia, and they went really heavy into the scaling factor, right? With the Jax, with the Cass, that was what they wanted to do, and we could take a look at how they did it with the replay here on that last game 1 between Marquette and St. John's. And it looked very dire right here at this moment. Marquette gonna push down, end this game. Not so fast, my friend, led to another Baron fight. And Nova Chosen coming in, trying to help out the rest of his team, but QQ Longs and the rest of the scaling of St. John's, that's when we realized something was going down here. And the scaling finally turned over the corner for St. John's.
QQ Longs was so quiet throughout the course of the game. He put himself in some rough positions. We can see it there. He stayed alive when it mattered in these key team fights. Basham as well, having moments like this, where he's able to keep himself alive long enough, distract the rest of the team, and allow QQ Longs to do things, just do Jax things, basically, because he's able to just dish out this raw, unadulterated damage and take down the entire squad. That's an ace, one of many aces we saw in that last game.
And like, he didn't live through that last team fight, but one of the things that we've noticed is how long they can live.
Yeah. And one of the things I have to say, St. John's, with the best quote so far, we have sexy people with sexy skills. I love the confidence here from St. John's coming in. We got a chance to talk to their manager, Lawrence G, earlier, who was such a cool guy to sit down and talk to. And with this kind of confidence, the whole squad, I'm loving it.
Yeah, and the quote to that is the yang to the yin. Lawrence, the manager, very calm, very professional, very humble, I would say. And then we got sexy people that could do sexy things with QQ longs. That's the complete opposite there. But that's kind of the swag that you need, right? Otherwise, you're just like polite guys that kind of get punched in the face and you lose. And you're like, oh, well, I'm just happy to be here. No, no, no. Like, we're happy to get that opportunity, but we're going to show you why we're here. And St. John's doing that in game 1.
Oh, yeah, because, of course, we're only looking at one tiny facet of this. I mean, this is not just one school playing up against another. This is the Big East. There are established rivalries amongst these schools. There is school pride on the line. They're not just playing one game of league. They're not just playing one season. They're playing not only for that pride of the school, but it actually means something going into the further all in the CLAW season. So there's a lot on the line for these players. They need to have that swagger.
Sure. On the opposite side, Marquette.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Marquette, again, falling. They went 1-5 in series last year. They're looking to try and bounce back and find themselves a way back into this game. I think that they had a good strategy there. I asked the question at the beginning of the broadcast, will Sable's be able to, Sable Shadow be able to fill the boots of the AD carry before him? In this case, I think he was put in a position that made it difficult for him to do it. There were so many threats on the opposite team that St. John's drafted that as the game got later and later, the answer was no. I don't think anyone could be able to carry that. So it got a little bit more difficult for him. I think if you draft again, draft smart, but you have to, as a team, play to your win condition. If you are not the team that's scaling, you need to push the tempo. When you take a turret, when you get a Rift Herald down, you need to know how to tighten those screws, but then also, all right, we've pushed down several turrets. I know we want this inhib, we want to end the game, but maybe we should slow it down here. We got a big enough lead that the scaling isn't going to turn around on its head quite yet.
Yeah, and one of the things we talked about going into this, and you talked about bringing in new players and new faces, is the idea that maybe there's a little bit of rank discrepancy between some of these teams and what they've individually put up on the ladder. My rank means nothing. Their rank means nothing. All that matters is what you are playing for. This is Colonel Buckshot from Marquette. Marquette, of course, coming into this, one of the members of the team unfortunately suffered an injury, nerve damage in his hands, could no longer continue to play. The team is rallying, playing for him. They have every reason in the world to keep going right now. And that's pretty powerful there because there's so much beyond just school pride on the line for them as we get into draft in game number 2.
Yeah, Buckshot, foe the fall in the mid lane. He definitely carried his part there. Galio getting huge and coming up with multi-man stuns multiple times, setting up the rest of his team to get kills. But now Sable Shadow and the rest of the team need to follow up with that. Different team composition, different settings, but it needs to be more than foe the fall early on. Other guys need to step up. Nova's chosen, got an early lead, but then what did he do with that, right? We said his name a lot early on.
His ults were sick, but there was no follow-up.
There was no follow-up, exactly. So Aogon and the rest of the team, Aogon got caught like a decent amount. I felt like he needed, on the Xin Zhao, needed to have more of an impact. Literally, this did a good job protecting Sable Shadow. I don't think he did a good job initiating team fights, right? So it was a lot of like, hey, let's not make the mistake that loses the game. But you pick the team composition that needs to risk it for the biscuit. So, like, they need to be the one that steps up and makes plays and makes St. John's feel uncomfortable. Once they let St. John's settle in, farm up, they're just pushing waves without really any purpose for it. You're just shoving in a wave and then going back. Well, that means they have a wave that they can farm and shove back. They could freeze it, and then you can't even step up that far because it's on the opposite side of the map. You need to have intention with every action that you're doing. Marquette has an opportunity to do that here in game 2.
I love it. Laying down the wisdom here as we get into our draft in game number 2. Every action should have a purpose, and we're seeing, I think, a lot of very purposeful bans to start things off here. The target ban on the Nivea once again, and then a lot of hyper standard meta chance, the Rakan, Irelia. Everything, the Aatrox, the Sandra coming in there as well.
Yeah, Master Yi gets banned away.
That's fine.
That's weird.
That's fine. No, look, I think one of the biggest things here has to be securing that Galio for foe the fall. He did such a fantastic job in that last game. I think it was like 5 kills and 0 to start things off. He looked oh so impressive.
Yeah, what I like though is St. John's goes straight back to the Cassiopeia. Again, can flex anywhere.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We've seen a couple of those champions. Another one is Victor. Victor can go mid. Victor can go top. You've seen him in the bot lane. Jace can go mid, can go top, can also go in the bot lane. Thank you, LCK, for breaking the meta and showing us how to do it. And if LCK does it, that means everybody can do it.
The Koreans do it, guys. That's how you know it's good. It's how you know it's good. The Urgot coming in there once again for Mountain. Played a very solid Urgot, I think, in that last game. He was never the the big deciding factor in any one of these fights, but he was always there doing consistent damage and tanking for his team when they needed it. So
yeah, laid on the
fine.
TP a couple times, and I think could have mitigated some of the aggression that Nova's chosen pulled off on him. But either way, just was able to create space in those team fights later on. Cassiopeia able to deal damage, left for Egg, able to deal damage on the Lissandra, and we'll get to see him do that one more time. However, this time the Jax now flipping sides with the Sejuani. Sejuani has been banned every single game so far. Not this time. Aegon has another opportunity here to make plays, get ganks off with a highly sought-after jungler.
Yeah, there's a lot of burst damage coming in here for Marquette. If they can all get their targets lined up together.
That's a Malzahar. Malzahar gets
All right.
locked in here for left for Egg, and that's you can play it jungle. Probably not so much right now in this current meta, but otherwise, Malzahar getting locked in and control mage. So you want to hold people in place so that your Cassiopeia can come up and smack them wherever Cassiopeia may go, whether it's in the top or the bot lane. So
there's a lot of natural synergy there too with her kit, keeping people grounded, keeping people locked in place as well. The slows and the damage there. So
yeah,
not
too different from the
synergy.
Lissandra. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And Lissandra gets taken away in the ban phase. So what's another control mage? Yeah, let's go with the Malzahar. That'll help out. Bans coming in now. Braum, Morgana. So support pool getting knocked down a little bit here. Something because we've seen St. John's prowess at Cassiopeia, knowing like, hey, he can play this on the bottom side of the map. There's been no AD carry bans. You don't need to ban AD carries because if you're Marquette, you don't want to ban away an AD carry, then not have an AD carry left, and then St. John's is like, surprise, Cass is going mid. We take Ezreal. Now you don't have a top tier AD carry. We already seen your Kaisa. Not scared of it.
Yeah. But the Lucian.
Yeah, and then so the Lucian gets taken away here. So Marquette now has a question. Do we ban away Kaisa? Do we ban away an Ezreal? Or are we comfortable playing both of those and, let's ban something else, right? It's really tough to ban right now. You can ban like a jungler.
Well, this is what's cool about what St. John's has done. As you mentioned, they pick champs that can flex into so many variable positions. It makes it really hard to ban against. I mean, yeah, you can ban a support here, that's fine. But they still, it's tough to figure out these lane matches because you can flex them in this way. Tom Kench is going to be denied here, so really hitting the support pool hard. I think that's a smart call for Marquette.
Yeah, it would be a little wonky if they go bot lane or support here for St. John's because they don't have a clear jungler. Again, you can jungle Malzahar, so you go the support here. That makes sense. They go with this Soraka, which is very interesting. I haven't seen much Soraka play in quite some time. Usually you want to go a little bit beef. That's been kind of the meta of the support lane. Go something a little bit tankier or shieldier. This is heals. This is regeneration. Also snares and a silence, but a little bit off meta here with the Soraka. If she gets caught, she dies. Sable Shadow gonna go with a Caitlyn. All AD carries feel comfortable on the Caitlyn, but the Caitlyn just feels awkward, and it's it's gonna be a Blitzcrank. So Blitzcrank locked in. You pull someone in. Hopefully it's not the Urgot. But you pull in a Cass, you pull in a either one of those bot laners you can pull in and get a kill here. And ooh, a Shyvana locked in here for St. John. So hey, look, you take away the Jax. I don't get to scale with him. I'll just scale with the Dragon Lady herself, Shyvana, going into the jungle. And so she'll just be farming up. Again, not a ton of pressure in ganking, but that's okay. The team functioned well without it. So QQ Longs will be farming up on the Shyvana. Opposite side, Marquette, again, picks the team composition that needs to execute. You're playing Blitzcrank, you need to land hooks. You're playing Sejuani, you need to hold some people in prison right now, land it, hold people in place. If you're Galio, you cannot ult nothing, so Caitlyn has to be safe, and there is no AD carrier that is safer than Caitlyn, so now you're not worried about the short range, you're not worried about getting held in place by the Malzahar, getting stunned by Cassiopeia. So a lot of eggs in the basket of Sable Shadow yet again.
I'm also seeing, though, some potential for some counter synergy here with some of the plays for Marquette, potentially. They have to play around this Blitzcrank really well. They have to be making sure that they're following up on his calls, or we could potentially see some hilarious wonky thing. I don't know, Sejuani throwing ult. pull it out of the way. Less optimal situations right there. However, I think they do have a very solid team composition. I think both sides actually drafted a great mix of both comfort and meta here. I think the balance is probably pretty good.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, with the Blitzcrank, we did get to see a lot of it last year's spring split. I think Afrom was pulling that out a ton, and it was fun to watch. But there are other champions that you could have picked, right?
Yeah.
You can play a Thresh, and Thresh kind of functions in that same way,
Maybe
like
we see
hooking
Pike
people back
bringing
in
that
together.
situation too,
Pike,
yeah.
exactly, is another one that hasn't been played yet. So hopefully either team found that correct mix, and they'll be able to play to the optimal settings.
Well, let's see if they're able to do it here as we get into game number 2. St. John's is up 1-0 over Marquette here. Marquette needs to find their footing in this series if they want to split the series 1-1. These are, of course, functionally best of 2s, so it won't be a game number 3, but both of these teams will leave at least knowing they can do some work.
A little bit of rotations here for an invade. It's going to be close. It's a little scary. Yeah, walking forward, literally this. Going to walk into all of them. And now, oh no!
That is the first blood right there. Aogon, the next target. So much damage already done. St. John's finding the perfect bush. Like, you know what? This bush seems like the exact right one. And Marquette not respecting it, running in, face-checking it right there. I don't care if you've got massive boxing gloves. There's no way you could box yourself out of that situation.
No, not at all. And it's going to be an easy first blood gifted over, and that's exactly what you don't want if you're Marquette. And they'll just have to live with the consequences.
Yeah, they will. I mean, that's a start that I've been kind of expecting or waiting for, and I keep kind of talking about it. Let's take a look at this again as we go into this, and it really just so much damage to start things off right now, and just getting caught out. The silence was there, and the fall. Someone who did so well in game number 1 just destroyed.
Yeah, major outplay there by St. John's as Marquette walks into the rest of the team and falls. And we saw why every other team wanted to just set up the line of scrimmage, not do anything silly, and fall behind. Fortunately for the side of Marquette, if there's any silver lining, no one burned a summoner skill. Everyone stayed safe. So you got that for you. You can go back into the lane and not worry too much about gold being expended. On the top side, Mountain is able to go back and buy himself a ruby crystal and stay slightly healthier, get closer onto his build path. But yeah, just a little bit of a early handicap set there by the Golden Eagles.
St. John's looking pretty good, clearly carrying the momentum in here to game number 2. I think that's really interesting talking about the mindset of some of these players and some of these teams is, Marquette came into, literally not hitting that shot right there. Marquette, they were in such a good position, and some would even say maybe kind of threw a bit of that last game, really overcommitting on some of those pushes. And I feel like they're kind of feeling it here in game number 2, thinking we have to make big plays early. We have to start to turn this around. And maybe, it's hurting them a little bit in this matchup because now they're down on the back step. They're down, heading towards 1,000 gold. The Justice Punch is coming in on through. The Nuthreg has almost no mana to work with.
Yep. Forced to flash away.
I have to say, the Paul he's a solid mid lane. We were kind of questioning this mid lane matchup, but he's doing so well.
Yeah, left for egg. Diamond 3 against Foe the Fall. Colonel Buckshot is his normal name. It's been pretty one-sided right now as we see the engage there. Yeah, Foe the Fall picking up the kill.
I'm glad I'm hyping this guy up appropriately, and then he makes me look so good by getting a solo kill. I dig that.
The caster curse.
That's it.
The caster blessing.
In this case, yes. Up in the top lane, we are seeing a fairly standard matchup where the Urgot will be pretty comfortable there. Nova's chosen at this stage. He needs to start to get more of those skills online, get a little bit more going into his kit before he can really feel comfortable contesting that Urgot up there. Those shotgun knees are so oppressive.
Bit of trading here on the bottom side of the map as well. Now literally this, can't miss his hook if you're point blank, right? There he is. He does land it. Basham now has to step up, try to pick up the kill. The heals will keep everybody safe. On the top side of the map though, we have a gank. Oh, we had a gank going down. Yeah, there it is. And Mountain getting caught out.
He's forced back right now, but Aogon and crew are looking to follow up. That is the power of that Sejuani, and that's what we're talking about. The reason this champ has been banned every single time. Her ability to come out of a bush and set up kills. Her stun was reduced to 9.1, but her overall damage has increased. Combining that with something like a Jax, who will have the stun off of that counter-strike. Watch for how they set that up together, able to chain that CC to secure those kills.
Great response here by Marquette. Could have been very easy to fall apart. Be like,
Oh, yeah.
GG, FF15, report my feeding mid laner. I guess that's probably like the best person to have it happen to. You know, Foe the Fall, we've seen his quotes. We've seen him. He knows exactly what he's playing for. He's the one that's probably less prone to tilt to see another hook miss, and now this might be painful for Sable Shadow. And by having it be like, oh, that's my bad, it's my fault, I'll get us back in there, and then he goes and gets himself a solo kill in the mid lane. Like, that's what's up. That's a good response here by Marquette.
See, the start of this game was playing angry, and then there's playing angry, and that's what Foe the Fall was doing right there, making those big plays. As we look towards this first Drake down here in the bottom, gonna look to start to soul this out for the side of St. John's. Kiku Longs is there, no vision of that for Marquette. They are totally unaware that this is happening right now. This is a really nice little stealthy play.
Yeah, a couple pings going down, like, hey, mid laner's gone, warded the bottom side of the map, so must be something going down there. So Marquette has an idea this is happening, not through fact, but through intuition, and there it is, now they know. So first Drake heading over to the side of St. John's, trying to reverse what happened last game. It was 4 Drakes to 1 by the time the Elder Dragon spawned, and St. John's getting an early start there. Plus, they have the additional incentive to do it with Shyvana. Shyvana getting extra stats with her passive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it's anyone to do, it's going to be the Dragonborn right there. So good to keep that pressure up from the jungle right there. We saw one jungle come out and get a kill in Sejuani. We saw another jungler come out and pick up a Drake of her own. So pretty good counterplay going back and forth right now. But Nova's chosen. I like the fact that they brought the Sejuani up here. I think they might want to look to do it again, because if you leave Mountain on his own right now, Nova's chosen. It's such a rough spot. He's doing a good job of last hitting under tower at least, which is what's keeping him in this right now. They're looking dead even in terms of CS.
Yeah, it's been a good couple of early minutes. Now we're starting to hit the level 6 point in the game. Shyvana can come out of bushes, throw around glacial prisons. Easy follow-up here with the heroic entrance from Foe the Fall. And so both these guys need to start being proactive. Again, you pick the proactive team composition. You've seen what a Cassiopeia can do to you if you just sit back and let them farm up. So got to land these hooks, got to make these plays to accelerate the game.
Yeah, at this point, both teams are just playing this out very, very slowly, though. You're talking about accelerating the game at this stage. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a faster game than we saw in game number 1. I think both teams are realizing that they don't necessarily want to let this go as late as it did the last time around. They want to be a little bit more decisive. Literally, this is looking to potentially go in with the Blitzcrank. Doing a pretty good job of body blocking for his teammate there, who is already taking a decent amount of damage. The poke coming out from St. John's is pretty good.
This game's starting to slow down just a bit, just like last game, right? You felt each other out, got a first couple of kills, couple deaths, made some mistakes, got that out of the way, and then both teams comfortable just kind of to farm up, and not even really play around the dragon quite yet, but just really make sure that you don't make the mistake right now. And I think you're seeing signs of teams that are getting off the early season jitters, and at some point these guys need to be the ones that make the plays, as you can see aggression coming down by the bot lane, given away through context clues that Shyvana was on the bottom side of the map before she walks over one ward, now walks over another ward. And clear that one out for her troubles.
Yeah, getting that vision there. Much better job, I think, in this set. You're seeing a lot of wards going down, controlling. In that first set, that Paul and Seton Hall, it was one of the things that I criticized a little bit there, was the potential lack of overall warding there. Literally this, not going to connect the hook right there in the bottom, as the pressure is now starting to come in for St. John's. Both of these teams, a pretty good idea of where their opponents are, feeling a little bit more confident in pushing out these lanes. But still, neither side is going super aggressive yet. But as I said, I feel like we're going to see a bit more of a scrappy game here in game number 2.
We did see pings come down from Eogan. Oh, Eogan? Aogan?
I've been saying Aogan. So
Aogan?
Eogan? Aogan?
Eogan? Aogan. We'll get confirmation here in just a bit. Aogan, being down to the bottom side of the map, hit level 6, or hit level 7, wanted to get a gank off, but decided against it. And, you know, you're Caitlyn. You're Caitlyn, you've got to be dealing damage up front and being the lane bully that you pick. However, and I touched on it during Champ Select, literally this was a good Braum at defending, not the greatest at initiating. And now he's picked a champion in Blitzcrank that is all initiating. You can peel a little bit, but how many times have we said, oh, then another hook misses from literally this? He needs to find a way to step up and make a play. And the only reason why we're saying it this way is because if he lands a hook on Emberwarg or Basham, that's a summoner blown. Like, it's feast or famine. There is no in-between right now, and he needs to find a way to do that. Good job.
Yeah.
You cleared out a ward. That's not why you pick Blitzcrank. You pick Blitzcrank to hook somebody and force them to flash away. If they don't have flash, it's a kill.
Yeah, there's no, I love the expression feast or famine because it's so true in this situation. You don't kind of hit a hook. You either hit it or you don't. That is very much the situation for his team where he needs to be hitting every single one because if he looks to go in, if he makes the call, if they put themselves in position to follow up and he's not there, those are wasted resources, that is wasted time that they just cannot afford at this point. As we are seeing the Justice Fist going in, there's the taunt, the follow-up is there, lots of damage. That is the full combo going through right there. Left for Egg has no idea what just hit him.
Yeah, and that's just one rotation. That's one rotation. No ignite. If it happens one more time, he's dead.
Yeah,
and he can't ult him in the middle of his Justice Punch because then the Justice Punch hits him and then the channel gets canceled, the snare gets canceled. Oh, foe the fall. We missed it, but tried to go for another flash taunt there, and you can see right there his flash is down.
Yeah, so that's a big cooldown on that summer spell that's not going to be available for this next fight as the damage is starting to rain on through from St. John's onto this next Infernal Drake here. Aogon is here, though, on the flank. We're looking to make something happen, going in onto QQ Longs. As we see Blitzcrank charging and maybe a little bit overextended through a lot of damage to stop the CC. The fall of the heal is going to keep alive a little bit longer. There's the counter initiation. The Hero's Entrance there onto Basham as well, who's getting so low. The kills back and forth. And on the backside, left for Egg is able to escape with just a scrap of HP. Aogon is now chasing down Emberwarg as the fight is just deteriorating, but the Drake is still alive.
Yeah, great fight there by Marquette. They're able to turn around. There it is. Foe the Fall does pick up the kill on left for Egg, and a big turnaround. Literally this. Doing a great job baiting. We've been asking for him to land a hook as we take a look at this replay. He walks up into melee range to make sure it doesn't happen. Everyone on the side of St. John's has to respect the hook. It's like, hey, look, is he going to stop? Is he going to stop? Is he going to stop? No, he's not going to stop. All right, let's kill him. Let's punish him. Gets the knock up, gets the hook. Everyone focuses down on him. Galio comes in, gets a one-man knock up onto Bastion, but that's your damage. And so you're holding someone in place if you're Malzahar, left for Egg, doing the cleanse flash away. But then there's no damage to follow up. You didn't have any of the Voidlings to do auto attacks. You see the Voidlings doing damage now, but they weren't there earlier. Foe the Fall, easy cleanup.
Nicely done there. This Galio play from Foe the Fall, I have a funny feeling this is going to be a respect ban in weeks to come because this guy is an absolute monster on the champ every single time those Winds of War make an appearance. They are doing serious damage. Going a little bit above and beyond, plus Ultra, that Justice Punch coming on through. I love to see it. As now both teams are looking to reset. Neither one is out of it yet by any means. We're only seeing about a 2K gold difference, and there hasn't been a whole lot of solid concrete objectives teamed on the map yet.
For sure. St. John's still has the scaling game on their side, but Marquette doing a good job. We've asked them to be proactive, and yes, it was really awkward and weird to see like literally this walk up into melee range to land a hook. However, it was what they needed. He made the ultimate sacrifice of his own life to be proactive, get 3 kills and the dragon, and push Marquette ahead. And if they want to bounce off this night and find themselves a victory here, do better than what they did last season, which they seem poised to do. Foe the Fall's a stud in the mid lane right now, and Nova's Chosen is proving to be a force to be reckoned with here in the top side of the map as well. They need to continue to make proactive plays and play to their team composition win conditions. As Shelly's like, stop it.
No. You come into my nest, you bother me. You don't get to be that easily.
You don't get to poke my eye in my back without getting slapped in the face.
I love it. I also love the decision there from St. John's not overcommit onto that. We obviously see the ability of Shimano to just go in and solo out some of these major map objectives, but that one would take a little bit longer, potentially leaving them open for a bit of a snipe. And at this stage, if Marquette could get a kill, get a major objective like that, that could be the tiny snowflake that starts the snowball that is taking this game. He landed the hook. The knock-up is there. The follow-up on Enderwarp, but on the side, we have Basham just doing so much damage on Disable Shadow. And this turns so quick. Basham is in such a commanding spot right now. That Kalen could do nothing.
Oh my goodness
Oh.
gracious, is that Cody Parkey? He missed the field goal by so far. Eogan now getting in there. Nice hook going to land yet again, and there's the kill. Now Basham, 1v3, has a lot of health and a teammate coming.
The teammate is arriving here, but not wanting to overcommit, as we do see the giant chicken arriving right now. The hero's entrance is there. The shot going down onto Cass, but on the backside, the dragon form trying to do some work, and then instantly deciding this is not the call. That was a bit of an awkward Dragon's Ascent, I'm not going to lie.
That was to get himself out
I'm
there.
going in, and I'm going right back out.
Yeah.
I basically imagine that scene from The Simpsons where he just walks back in, takes off his hat. Nope, not doing this. Walks right back out again.
That was calm. So 2 hooks in a row there for literally this. Now a big question to be asked of Eogan.
Are we confirmed on Eogan?
No, I'm
Okay.
just trying to follow you there,
Perfect.
Eogan. He's being quite the liberal right now because no one's going to glacial prison. with tosses like that.
Seriously, that was a little, I think in the business we call that a whiff.
That was quite the whiff to start things off. So Nova's chosen just continuing to farm up here, but good proactive play by Marquette yet again. Just literally it's around the wall. Ember Warg getting himself to safety. Basham did a good job buying time, and the initial damage that came out from that fight onto Sable Shadow. Again, Sable Shadow a little bit questioning about your positioning.
Yeah.
Sat right on top of Miasma and got like double fanged a couple of times. Kept himself safe for a little bit, and good collapse by Marquette.
Yeah, really nicely done there from them, showing that they are not out of it yet in this series. Speaking of a series, we have more amazing action to come after this. So,
Ooh, that
you
was
just watch
smooth.
this one.
That was a smooth one.
I try my best here. Villanova going up against Butler, our returning champions. So no matter who comes out of this on top, we're all winners at the end because we get to see more amazing collegiate Big East League of Legends action. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. As we get back into the action here, 6 kills to 2. We don't stop here, man. We just keep on going. At some point, somebody will take a turret. At some point, that time will come. We're waiting for it.
Time's not yet.
Time is not now.
It definitely isn't soon when you pick a Cassiopeia bot laner that doesn't hit turrets and you pick a Shyvana that just wants to farm everything for now.
Look, maybe they have a really good school of agriculture, man. I don't know. They just want to farm. I can't tell you these things.
St. John's is in New York. Like, I don't think there's a lot of farmland up there. Where St. John's is. There's a lot of farmland in upstate as we have a fight finally breaking out on the bottom side of the map.
Finally breaking out in the river right there was 1 kill going over the way of St. John's to start things off. And now we are in the back line going in, diving the committal with the Shyvana. Nicely done, using that Dragon's Ascent to great effect. And now it is Urgot in full retreat. Or sorry, chasing down Foe the Fall, I should say. Who is in full retreat.
There it is.
And now we have the Dragon in... He should easily be going the way of St. John's right here. No questions asked. 5 still alive and 2 dead. Marquette.
Yeah, that team fight just, I think I can mentality. When one of your teammates gets caught out, you think you can get in there and help them out. And Sable Shadow ran in there and then immediately retreated. It was a miscalculation of how much damage, how tanky your team was going to be, how many people on the other team were there, and leads to a Mountain Drake heading over. The second one for St. John's. They're going to be tearing through neutral objectives so quickly. The turrets, Baron later on, other Drakes, and the Elder Dragon as the game moves forward. So Marquette getting a little too excited, you know, and their proactivity.
Well, I have to say, one of the things is how these fights end up splitting out. And I feel like it comes down to a lot is his Blitzcrank and his Caitlyn. And the way that Malthazar is playing around his ulti. When he goes in with the Nether Grasp and he's able to just lock somebody down like that, how the team is playing around it, there's no instant priority there. I feel like that's the full duration channel. Like, it's just going forever. And there's no way, they're not really prioritizing shutting him down at all. And I feel like Marquette's just getting a little bit frazzled in these fights.
And they don't have to, like, shut him down, but they need to invest in QSSs, which is what's being built right now. And again, just an engage starting things off. It's a 3v2. Marquette going to focus onto the Dragon on the top side of the map, but that's a lot of damage by QQ Longs. He's able to get away. Here comes the rest of his team. Nether Grasp now being thrown down. Aegon got to get out of there. Nova's Chosen getting chomped down. There's the Fear Beyond Death, and there he goes. Foe the Fallen able to turn damage around. Aegon very low, and he'll still live. QQ Longs now getting in. Hook landing, and it turn it around. Marquette goes 3 for 1. Big roam there by the support. Literally this.
Literally this. Going on in and going clutch, keeping the team alive. What a scrap! Every single moment during that fight, it was like, St. John's is going to turn this around right, and no. Marquette looked so clean. They juggled aggro beautifully. The ult is now going in. They're trying to take down Sable Shadow, who's able to get himself out as Basham is trying to chase this, but no. Beautiful play there from Sable Shadow to escape. They still lose the tower, but at least not his life. Simultaneously, the team picking up that Rift Herald. Yeah,
Sable Shadow able to get himself out as we take a look at this team fight yet again. Starts off with a nice bush gank coming out from Aegon. He took a lot of damage early on. They focused the correct target, and you see right here, it's a 1v3 forcing away QQ Longs. Now this is a 3v2 de facto. Now it's a 2v2 de facto. The ult comes in, and you think, oh no, things are going wrong here. It's a 3v2. But the damage from the Galio and the Sejuani, there were patch changes from the preseason that led to more damage onto the Sejuani, able to burst down the opposing team one by one, and Marquette turn a bad situation and turn that one into a great one. Oh yeah, it's just the way that Foe the Fall is just able to cycle through his abilities every single time we throw those Winds of War. The shield is ran. The second that taunt comes through, every single time it's connecting on at least one target, and the team is able to follow up. We saw there, Mountain, he's like, I can go in, no, maybe I can't. There's so much indecision in that fight, and it ended up costing the team so much, as now we see Marquette pulling ahead of St. John here in game number 2. And finally, turrets are starting to fall, but still, this is anyone's game. Just letting it breathe a little bit, because you need to catch a breather after all that fighting. Mountain now getting caught out. Aegon just roaming down to the bottom side of the map. No vision here for Mountain, and it's that easy.
It's just that. I don't think you need it.
He's not ranged.
Kill confirmed.
Yeah,
kill confirmed. That's fine. Yeah. That's
he wanted to send someone to prison. He heard my comment earlier.
Yeah, look, it's absolutely.
I'm the policeman.
This is the police. Open up. Oh, as we see the hook going in from literally this. Nicely done there. Going on to Emberwarg. A lot of follow-up damage as we do see the ADC now for the side of St. John trying to continue to chase this down.
Sable Shadow.
Oh,
you missed your
commit, please. Okay. Sable Shadow gives me heart attacks every single time he walks towards opponents.
Yeah, I mean, he did a good job recognizing, like, hey, good hook, literally this. I cannot follow you.
Yeah.
But then walked back in anyways, and now he's about, what are you doing, Sable Shadow?
Well, there was an attempt. He's like, look, I see a support. She's really low HP. I want to get the kill. The Hero's Entrance is going to be here as well, but a little too late. The taunt to fall. Trying to bring in the Dragon's Descent, keeping under the tower. The Shyvana is chasing this down. But the Justice Punch is going to be keeping underneath the tower. And QQ Long absolutely giving his life for that. Foe the Fall, you're an absolute. What are you? He's like standing there like, really? Really? Did you think you could do that to me?
Yeah, he
and look at the flank coming in now. Emberwarg is. Oh!
Nice flash there by Emberwarg to stay alive. That was good. Now flash in. That's expected onto Basham, and Basham just bit off more than he could chew. No mana, and down he goes. And Marquette finding ways to turn these fights back around. You know, Sable Shadow getting caught out early on. Now Aegon wants a little more. He's setting up left for egg. He's got to be setting up left for egg. Urgot is on the way up. The longer this takes, it's better. But now, the stun. Nova Chosen cleaning this one up as well. Urgot, all those legs, and you still walk so slow, not able to do anything there.
Absolutely wild. St. John's needs to know when to press the B button, when to just walk back into your base and not try and just sweeper and chill in your jungle. Just don't. It's fine. It's fine. You can do that when you have HP and mana to work with, because that was also one of the big things we didn't touch. There was no mana for St. John. They could do nothing in that entire fight, and this is the snowball now starting to roll down the hill. Compound that with turrets, compound that with map objectives, with further kills, with farming, with potentially landed hooks from literally this. And that is how we see a split series here, especially with this kill on potentially on the QQ Longs.
Yeah, not quite over yet. Both teams are going to jostle position around the bottom side of this Drake, and Nova Chosen, I don't know, looking like goodwill, trying to donate over a kill to St. John's. Foe the Fall forced to back off, and now on the front line is Sejuani. Sejuani in the fight, now trying to get himself out. QQ Long's trying to pick up a kill before time runs out. Oh, and he gets absolutely deleted, but there's the Fear Beyond Death. That's a huge, huge bounty. A second bounty going to be going over in just a second. Literally this, though, trying to slow down, and yes, Cassiopeia picking up 800 gold. That's so much gold onto the late game scaling carry. Ooh. Nice heal to keep him alive, but the poison ticks down and picks up the kill. And St. John's now turning this one around.
What a fight. St. John's will not go quietly into this good night. They are saying we are not out of this yet. Let's take a Drake for good measure.
So Sable Shadow. Was trying to steal that one with the Peacemaker, not able to get that one over the wall. Close.
Close, but no cigar in that
But
situation.
no Grave Cigar. That's the
I know, yeah.
teen. Was it T for teens? So no cigars?
No cigar.
Thanks, Graves.
We
Thanks, Rad.
appreciate that, yeah. It's a common thing in these MOBAs as we're looking now towards the overall scope of this game. And I want to ask your professional opinion right here, good sir. If you're the side of Marquette and you have these forward moments, but you just got smacked down like that in that last engage, how do you recover, from a morale standpoint? How do you shake that off and just keep looking forward, knowing you are still in a good position in this game?
I think it's just saying, hey guys, we're in control of this game still. Like, yes, we just kind of threw that last team fight, but we are in the driver's seat right now. Follow me. Like, look at who's fed on your team. It is the Sejuani, it is the Galio, it's that big front line, and the Jax is way ahead of the Urgot on the top side of the map. Play through those three. Don't fight if you're not all there. Even if it's an objective, even if you think, hey, I'm in a safe spot, you've got to know what their engage tools are. The Shyvana can ult on you. You can get flash snared by the Malzahar. You can get flash ulted by Basham. There's so many ways that there aren't a ton of ways. There aren't a ton of ways for St. John's to get on you. So just play around that and be aware of it. And if you're not fully aware, you don't have vision, then back off, right? Back off until you get the team fight that you want.
I think at this stage in the game, they are sitting comfortable enough. They can do exactly that. There's no real crazy pressure on them right now. Yeah, we saw the late game prowess that Cassiopeia going forward, and that's not really something you are potentially going to want to connect with. But I feel like in terms of overall late game scaling, I feel like, you know, Marquette is in just as good a position right here to go into that hyper late game should they need to. So, I mean, well, in professional play, I think they're in a decent spot.
They're in a decent spot, but I mean, you have the Urgot. Urgot is the big changer here for that because, yes, your Jax can go and pop off and, like, do 1v9 things. However, you don't have to just kill the Jax if you have an Urgot. Urgot's ult with the Tendril and then the Fear Beyond Death, it's just about, like, 33% health. So Jaxes get low. Like, that's a thing that happens, but then they just auto-attack and keep life-stealing. But if they get low and you just pick up the kill, that works. Ace in the hole, not going to land. Good block, but a kill shutting down two, and just picks here by St. John's. Their jungle is not their jungle if you don't have wards down. And now it's just a cleanup here for Marquette.
Oh, yeah, that was a really solid little back and forth there. St. John's picking up one return kill, but it was all Marquette all the time, going on into Sejuani. Again, whiffing out a little bit there, but still able to pick up 2 kills, which now opens up the pit right now. Baron is here. He's right to be claimed. We'll see if St. John's can make anything happen. I'm not sure they should necessarily commit to this because staggering deaths at this stage of the game could spell absolute disaster. QQ Longs getting zoned out by literally this. I think this is exactly what needs to be done.
They're not killing this that fast quite yet. I think literally this did his job, though. They distracted him. A kill does go down. Smite will be going in. Yeah, ult going in too late by QQ Longs, and everyone on the side of Marquette just want to get out. And I think that was solid play there by literally this. He's figured out his calling. He's starting to, once he started sacrificing his body, the hooks started coming. The engages started working. So Marquette support finding some success, and now Nova Chosen in a little bit of trouble. The Tendril does land. This is what I was talking about. You don't have to fully kill the Jax. You just got to get him low enough that he gets pulled in, and yep, there it is. There's the kill. QQ Longs picking that one up. Turrets nicely juggled. Actually, it wasn't even juggled, just the Shyvana's tanky.
Yeah, just has enough HP to work with there, but you called it exactly. The Jackson situation, he just floats around always below half HP in these fights, as we're now finally going to see the push from St. John being mounted in full effect up here on the top side of the map. This top turret is going to drop, and they're going to back up, reset, get some more items, and look towards this now potentially late game here, as they have a lot to work with. The map is their oyster right now.
Yeah, but just keep looking at the bottom part of our screen at the scoreboard. Cassiopeia is online now. She's got 3 items. She's got the Leandries. She got the Rylai. So now she in herself has some safety, right? Rylai's, every time you hit someone, there's a slow, and they have a movement slow for about 30% movement speed. of what they normally have. And if you have poison ticking on you all the time, all you do is land one skill, and now you can just move around them, run away, reposition, do all of that stuff, and stay safe. So it's going to be difficult to stick onto that Cassiopeia, who's going to be able to burn through some people, and she still has a couple other items that she can start working towards. Flash forced by Aegon, and Marquette starting to use the Baron correctly, splitting it up, but might get caught here.
Might get caught indeed. We do see the focus there on the Cassiopeia, who does get picked up there by the Caitlyn. Nicely done. And now it's Mountain going to be the next target, walking in with the shotgun. Needs the ball. Is there. The top going in. Nicely done. As that is the pick onto that Mountain. So nicely. Bringing it right back on in. Mountain.
See you later. There's chicken for dinner.
Woo, I like it.
So Galio gets taken out early here, but again, just random pick in their jungler. St. John's, that's the second time that's happened. Nice hook, finally landing by literally this. Ember Ward very low. Aegon trying to get in there. The turret does go down. A lot of pressure. We know that Mountain doesn't have ult. Again, this combo here doesn't have damage. All the while on the bottom side of the map, soloed out with Shyvana, and this might be the game.
This very well might be the game, as Nova Chosen is pushing in here on the bottom as well, opening up multiple inhibs, multiple channels of attack, and that is going to be the follow-up. Nice EC chain for Marquette as they are pushing in here. They have the minions, they have the bodies, they have the damage. Can they make it happen, or will St. John's hold on here? They have a few champs remaining to try and make this happen. The Nexus towers are falling, but they might have overextended.
Hey there, Nova.
To return right now. Ooh, this is oh so close.
Yeah,
I think Marquette's backing out.
But they still got a lot from that. And again, the I think I can mentality from St. John's this time instead of Marquette. They went in one at a time, getting caught in their own jungle. Their jungle is not their jungle. And what I mean by that is wards are littered all over the place by Marquette. St. John's keeps thinking, yeah, we'll go ahead and flank around them. There's no way that they'll know. There's wards everywhere on the opposite side at the time, to be fair. And they just get caught, and they start dying one at a time. The first person that died was Basham. You saw Mountain dash in with Urgot, try to block the ace in the hole. Basham not on the same page with Mountain, and the ace in the hole squeaks right on by Scoots, right by Urgot's big belly, and hits Basham, and that's all the damage.
It's like hole in one, basically, in that situation. Right on through, finding that moment, as now we're in a situation where St. John's is in full retreat. They're in full cleanup mode. They got to clean up super minions in both lanes. They got to play babysitting duty to the nth degree. The Nexus is exposed. 23 kills to 14, up almost 10K gold. This is Marquette's game to lose. It will take a miracle here for St. John, but you can't count them out yet.
I don't know about you, Twitch chat. I just felt that caster curse just be thrown upon onto Marquette. It is their game to lose. They are up pretty high, but Baron is going to run out, and St. John's is in a decent position to defend because they have triple Mountain Drake, which means they'll be able to cut through any NPCs or neutral objectives, which includes minions and super minions. So they'll be able to hole up a little bit, as well as that Cassiopeia getting online and shooting rapid fire double fangs. You got tanky front lines here, but really it's all up to Basham here to hold Marquette from destroying the base.
Well, as they're pushing on now to the final high ground turret, the damage will be raining on through. As you mentioned, they do have pretty good wave clear, though, for St. John's. They're able to repel this pretty easily. As simultaneously, what is literally this? You having fun there, buddy?
He's just, hey,
he's chill. He's chill.
Maybe if I stand still, they won't see me.
That's it. That's it right there. I have to say, though, St. John's has their back against the wall in this situation right now. And Marquette, they're playing for their teammate who can no longer play in the game right now, suffered some damage, nerve damage to his hands, can't really play. They're playing for him as they're going on in. This is St. John's opportunity at the moment to stun the CC. The follow-up is there.
Nova's Chosen
is in the back.
Nova's Chosen gets
keeping
caught.
him shut down, and that is going to be at the hero's entrance once again, staying in
Everyone's
place.
safe for
but
St.
that
John's.
is St. John surviving through this and trying to sustain. And this is now the chase.
One
the
at a
follow-up
time.
is oh so real. Literally this in full retreat.
Sable, use your
Aegon to
traps.
join him. Sable, Shadow, and crew are there.
Sable,
Can
use
they
your
make it out
traps.
alive?
Oh boy, St. John's doing a solid job holding on to their base. However, the Nexus is getting punched down. Super minions flooding in.
They're trying to keep them back.
Yeah, they
it was
did
totally
stop
worth
the
trying to
backs.
keep them back.
Urgot's back there. Urgot's back there.
back.
He's able to slow things down. This is one of those things that everyone's afraid of in solo queue, and just in general, you come to this point in the game where like, oh no, there's super minions hitting our Nexus turret. It's like, yeah, but if we lose mid turret and we lose the mid inhibitor, they're gonna have a ton of super minions. So sometimes you're forced to take a fight in the mid lane that isn't optimal, or isn't optimal to your base, and you're going to take a lot of damage elsewhere, is will it be able to hold on? Yes, it will. So you do have the turret for a little bit longer in the mid lane. However, you get the fight that you want from St. John's. Nova's Chosen went way deep into the turret. A great CC chain by Left for Egg, the Nethergrass holding them in place. And then they burned that down, and slowly, one by one, the players went down. They buy a little bit of time. Now they're going to head down to the Elder Dragon on the bottom side of the map, try to capitalize on their 4-dragon performance and stay in this game.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that was just how that fight played out in the sense of the grouping there. Like the Wish came down from the Soraka and was able to just keep everyone up in that throughout the course of that fight. Marquette just unable to break the base, break the high ground. They committed so much. The stationary hero's entrance was there, not really doing a whole lot. The Elder Dragon is going the way over.
See this Baron health, there it is,
Okay.
in that 8,000.
Okay.
Shyvana's got to know that they're up there. And for whatever reason, Shyvana took the dragon and went to Grump and basically gifted that one over to Marquette. So if you're Marquette, you just got to slow push these minions into the base. QQ Longs made some good plays earlier. I think that was just a brain fart right there. You know that they're going to get Baron. You also know that your Nexus is open. So you can't just like let the other team have Baron run up and take your inhibs. That was not that smart there by QQ Longs. I think they could have stalled that one out a little bit. You have the Elder Dragon. You have so much damage right now. Oh, they don't have Elder Dragon. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's my mistake. It was another Ocean Drake. So then that was definitely not worth. They should have gone to the top side of the map and contested for Baron.
Yeah, that was definitely not the play there. Baron just getting over for free at this stage in the game is something that can pretty much never happen. As the inhibs are falling just once again. Literally, this is over here on the bot side. That's another one going down. Another one bites the dust. Singing the tune right now is Marquette as they are pushing in here onto the high ground.
St.
Mountain
John's
is
has
going
to find
in.
a fight.
They have to find it right now. The
Yeah,
ult's
but Nova
being popped
Chosen
the
going
top
around.
to fall. The hero's entrance is there on the back. Caitlyn is dishing so much damage, being
Chosen.
sit uncontested, and that is likely going to be it as they push it now towards the core. However, standing strong onto the Nexus. Can they hold?
They're throwing their bodies on there.
Can they do it?
St. John's holding for a little bit longer, but super minions are starting to run into the base. Left for Egg trying to figure out a target to hit. Mountain trying to help keep his damage dealers safe. Basham is still alive, so they can continue this fight. Sable Shadow finally having an opportunity to do some damage, but now he has to run away because he's the only guy with the Baron empowered Baron empowerment. Nice dodge there. Still the chase by QQ Longs. Look at this auto spacing. Yeah, he used the trap. It finally happened. All the inhibitors are down though, so oh boy, St. John's is gonna have one heck of a defense for the next 4 minutes.
This is going to be this is already wild. The full hold onto the Nexus. They made it work somehow. We have a pause coming in here right now, but oh my.
Oh, it looks like he reconnected. Foe the fall, just disconnected briefly. Hopefully we'll be able to get him back in there, but my goodness, like St. John's holding on by the skin of their teeth. What? There isn't a lot of it, which is why they're barely holding on. Yeah, that's how the reference works. But Marquette just wants to continue to finish and push all the way in and finish the game. They haven't been able to do it quite yet, and they're getting a little too impatient. Just take your time. You have the Baron. You already have the inhibs down. Just work your way through it one at a time together, right? They split, did the top thing, did the bot thing, and then they're like, Nova Chosen on Jax. Go backdoor. Be expect A. Be the winner. Unfortunately, he died, and then again, one at a time. Everyone's dying. Do we stay? Do we go? We have Baron. Like, we should try to figure this one out. And unfortunately for them, they weren't able to yet. They are still in prime position to do so with super minions running into the base. And with all 3 inhibs down, it's going to be double super minions in every lane. It just seems like it's a matter of time for Marquette, but hey man, St. John's holding true, and Basham is getting bigger and bigger in that Cassiopeia in the bottom lane.
Look, I've written St. John's off at this point. You know, I'm like, Marquette looks like they've got this. It looks like they've got this, but St. John's has put on epic defenses right now. I mean, this is their Helm's Deep. They've made it work so far. But this is a rough spot to be in. There is no chance that they can make any offensive movements. Even if they get a full ace, they are still going to have to protect their Nexus right now. So I'm not even sure if they can do enough damage to break through the tier 2s, break through the high grounds, break through the inhibs, the Nexus towers of their own. they would have to pull off some of the sickest plays we have ever seen in Collegiate League of Legends.
I think that was a lot of building up. Right now, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen because already Nova Chosen just shoving the minions right on in, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of answers. Impending doom on its way. All you Marquette fans, flip that table to help out Sable. Sable starting to push in, and the rest of the team following suit along with Baron-empowered minions because Sable still had Baron for quite some time.
Pushing in now onto the Nexus. Left Ray taking a lot of damage from that Galio. The
Oh,
Nexus is exposed. Sejuani looking to try and potentially find the opening there. The Dragon's Descent not doing a whole lot there. They're going to try and find it, jumping in onto the Nexus. There's the silence.
Keep your eyes on Basham.
Can they continue on through? Mountain is still alive.
Basham
The Hero's
still
Interest
alive.
getting a massive knockup, but the Nexus is taking a lot of pain.
Basham's still alive.
Sable Shadow, though, is chunking down the Nexus,
There it
and
is.
that is going to be it. GG, Marquette take it, and they split the series 1-1.
Yeah, Foe of the Fall and the support there, literally this, finally taking matters in their own hands. They're like, Jax, we gave you so many opportunities to end the game. Fine, I'll do it with my boxing gloves, punch out the Nexus and end the game. Good on Marquette to bounce back.
Sable Shadow came in there too. He was doing his,
he was kind of
doing his
dancing
thing.
around. Yeah, he was there to empower the minions.
Yeah.
Not really attack anything.
Yeah, you were having a look, man. He came back in the end. He made it work. Let's take a look at our
He
highlights
put down
from
a trap.
that.
It was a good thing. It was a
He
good
like,
thing.
hey, that trap was sick. All right, it had a lot of repercussions. Break down these replays for us.
Yeah. Here's one of the first team fights here where things got turned on its head. Basham getting taken out very early in the team fight, and that was the key there for Marquette. If you're able to take down Basham, it really doesn't matter what the Malzahar in the mid lane is doing. You can win team fights. And here's yet another one again. At first, Marquette just looking like things were going poorly, but then they're able to turn around the damage. Things go down. Look at this. Basham gets killed again. It's the theme. Not that it's Basham's fault, but that's the focus. You know, if you're the main damage dealer, you got to stay alive. Sable Shadow getting a kill in that one and working through it. And then again, this was very unfortunate there. It looked like Mountain was trying to keep his AD carry alive, but the ace in the hole like sliding right through the wall and landing onto Basham, and that led to the kill and eventually a hill that St. John's was not able to overcome.
It was really great target prioritization there. Overall, some great decisions on when to go for those major map objectives. We saw it bite them quite a bit at the end there for St. John's, just giving up those critical Barons when it mattered most, putting them even further behind. Wow.